You're watching
Glenn Beck.
All right. I want to give you something tangible to do tonight. Instead of just talking about the problem, I need you to look for something. There's a new book out by Kyle Olson called Indoctrination. Kyle is the founder and CEO of Education Action Group, a Michigan nonprofit group dedicated to education reform. He's the author of Indoctrination, How Useful Idiots Are Using Our Schools to Subvert American Exceptionalism, and it is stunning. It is stunning. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good
Thanks
to see you
for
again.
having me.
We were just talking off air. I read this to my son, and I got about halfway through, and I was like, I think this I shouldn't be reading to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
You did the same thing?
I did. My wife actually bought that at a garage sale. And it was our oldest son. I was reading it to him, and I got about halfway through, and I thought, this is about union organizing, the cows organizing. And I stopped reading it because that's not the type of thing that I want in my son's head.
There's another, I bought a whole series of books for my kids. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it was a great series. And I got about 4 chapters into it, and I'm realizing, wait a minute. This is teaching my son something. It's so subversive and so subliminal that you barely even catch it. Most people don't. And then when they do see it, they dismiss it.
That's right. And my story about that book is my wife, I told my wife this, this is about union organizing. So she goes out with her friends every once in a while, and she brought this up at their, when they were having drinks. And they said, no, that's not what it's about. It's just about cows. And so I went on, yeah, that's right. And so I went on and searched, and I actually found that the AFL-CIO recommends this book.
Oh, yeah.
And the author of this book actually goes to union picnics and reads it. And, I mean, it's very clear what this is about.
Oh, yeah. Now, we bring this up because, do you remember the outrage on this? This was the Tea Party coloring book. The Tea Party coloring book. And all this was the American flag crossword puzzle and how much money do you spend? Do you know how much money? And do you know how to make money, et cetera, et cetera? The flag crossword puzzle, the number of stars and stripes, et cetera, et cetera. This was an outrage to the media. How dare the Tea Party come out with a coloring book?
That's right.
Yet this doesn't matter. And even worse, in your book, you talk about this.
That's right. There is a movement to insert social justice into math curriculum. And so instead of learning about how many quarters does it take to make $1, or fairly basic things that average people would want to know, now they're talking about incarceration rates and what is the chance, if you're a minority, what is the chance that you'll be pulled over by the police? And they look at AIDS rates and all of these things. And clearly what they're trying to do is
in story problems.
Story
problems. Okay.
Exactly. And so what they're trying to do is they're attempting to get this personal agenda, the teacher's personal agenda, into even math now. And what I found in writing the book is that this type of, this left-wing philosophy is everywhere. In the book I talk about union organizing. One example is the California Federation of Teachers created a lesson plan about how to start a pizza company, which, on the face of it sounds like a good idea. But when you actually read it, 40% of the lesson plan deals with organizing a union.
Yep.
I mean, it is everywhere. And so I just really encourage parents to look at what is going on in their school, be engaged with their child's homework.
Have you run into anybody, because I hear this all the time, parents always, they're a lot of times are disconnecting from each other. One will say, this is important. The other will say, no, it's not. Relax. What do you do? What do you do? Do you have any idea? How do you, I guess maybe just give your spouse your book and say, look, here are the facts.
Well, I think they need to really scrutinize everything that is being taught and I think they need to come at it from a position of what is really going on here? And are they really attempting to instill American values in my child?
Okay, go over this. What is this exactly? This is for teachers.
Correct. This is a guide basically teaching teachers how to put social justice into math. And so this was created by he's now a principal in Los Angeles. His name is Jonathan Osler. And he got into very specific ways of how to get these different math problems into the classroom.
He writes a couple of things on page 4. He just explains some of these. Who should be studying math within a social justice framework? He says, no matter the experiences, advantages, struggles, neighborhoods, race, class, gender, your students learning math within a social justice framework, it's important for their understanding of both the math concepts and the opportunities to be agents of change.
That's what it's about. It's about creating the left-wing army of students to basically enact what the teachers are pushing. And the other thing that I found in writing the book is that they are attempting to get at children at younger and younger ages. And going back to Click Clack Moo, I found a teacher in Chicago Public Schools that would read this to her students. She showed them pictures of when she was in Madison, Wisconsin protesting against Scott Walker. And then she taught them 3 new vocabulary words, and they were strike, negotiate, and collective bargaining. And these were preschoolers.
Oh my
so
gosh.
this is, I mean, they're starting at very young ages. And so again, parents need to know.
Do you think this goes back to what, you know, they're organizing preschoolers, that if you have to pay into the union dues? I mean, they're really, I mean, they're going for all of it.
Well, and what we found in the union section is that the quote that we start with is that it's from Howard Zinn, and he says, if you want to be, if you want to have students that support unions, you have to be teachers of unionism. Yeah. And so that's what many teachers are doing.
Okay, let me just give a couple of these, just a couple of things real quick because we're running out of time here. But one is an algebra unit. And it's called the funding and education. And is this the actual story problem?
Yes.
The local union, SEIU, is planning a rally in front of the federal building in order to fight for better wages and home health care workers. The union believes it's unfair for these union workers to make only minimum wage and are upset, blah, 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 blah. According to the budget, the union can only spend $600 for organizing this demonstration. They agreed to spend at least 6 hours making phone calls. Since a large part of their base speak English and second language, and since the organizers cannot use any telephone, they determined that there should be at least twice as many set of mailings as blocks of phone calls. Based on past results, blocks of hours of calls gets 30 people to come. Every set of mailings gets 16 people to turn out. Determine what combination of phone calls and mailings will maximize the number of people to turn out for this rally. That's unbelievable.
We've moved beyond how many quarters are in a dollar.
Yeah.
It is incredible. And the other important thing to point out here, too, is he is saying that, Jonathan Osler is saying that mathematics has been used to help people, but more often it's been used to hurt them. And he says, he brings up the fact that math was behind the development of nuclear weapons. This is on page 13. And it's been used to maintain the economic divide between a handful of wealthy white people and the billions of poor people of color around the world. And then he ends this statement by saying, maybe if our mathematicians had a background in social justice, we wouldn't have so many people suffering around the world.
What types of career, job, and position in life can one hope to gain by mastering the skills and knowledge in a social justice math program? Activist, organizer, teacher, principal, doctor, lawyer, engineer, architect, business owner, accountant. Need I go more? I mean, it's incredible. The name of the book is Indoctrination. I would really like you to read this. You have to follow your heart and you have to follow your passion. Where is your heart? Put your money, put your time where your heart is. If it is in children and education, you need to develop the skills to know what's going on and inform others. You need to organize because they're teaching our children to organize now. Thank you. Good work. God bless. Back in a minute.